Welcome back to the Mayor's Update.
Here we are later on a Wednesday night than we want to be, but it was Business After 5 again tonight, the Small Business Week,
Yep.
with a lot of small business people out. So Grayden and I wanted to ask you, and by leaving comment, you'll be part of our solution.
Yep.
Should we move Mayor's Update to Tuesday night in order to avoid ever lining up with Business After 5, which is does once a month?
And I'm on the board, so I've got to go.
Right. There's people that have to be there, and the mayor kind of has to be there for Business After 5 too. So would Tuesday night at 6:30 be right? Or should we just do what we've done again tonight, move it to 7:30 on that one Wednesday a month? We recognize many of you watch Mayor's Update live, but some of you watch it later on anyway. So you let us know your thoughts on this, and we'll abide by your thinking, so that we can share with you an open forum of city comments that matches your schedule as well as ours.
Absolutely. And another reason that I was a little bit behind this afternoon,
Right.
but is the Elgin County Studio Tour is getting all set up. And so I was over at the Art Gallery where they're having their first AGM talking about this studio tour. And there's about 22, 25 different artists that are involved in St. Thomas and Elgin County. And it's Elgin County as a whole.
Go visit their studios too, right? What a great idea.
And this will be next September. So you're hearing it here first.
Right.
They have a whole website. There's going to be a social media campaign that'll go live in the early of next year. But this is your little sneak peek.
Perfect.
This is going to be an amazing event that's going to be happening in our community.
Excellent. This is Small Business Week, as we've already said, for the Business After 5 and a lot of small business. And I don't mean businesses that are small. I mean startups and really doing a great job businesses. But we also, this week is Local Government Week.
Yeah.
And so here in this room, in council chambers, every morning this week and tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock also, I've been speaking to grade 5s and 6 students from across the city, and we have another group tomorrow that's pretty full, talking about what does local government do. And it's quite surprising how many of them know exactly, or at least many of the things local government delivers, and some don't. And so it's a real, as it should be, a learning experience. What is the local government responsible for, and what other things are parts of other levels of government, and that would bring your member of provincial parliament or your member of parliament into play. And I think we should teach this to many adults. We have a lot of people who...
This is why we do Mayor's Update.
No, it is, to try
to let
and say,
our viewers know.
Yes, that's a city issue, and yes, that's a provincial issue. But we all know Member of Parliament Flack, so we could go talk to him. Or we all know Member of Parliament Vecchio, and we know who to speak to here. Many people do not, like all health issues are not local, and say, well, why aren't you working on this, and this? And even some of the students today, we've had to talk. Well, as much as we like to work together with our hospital and the other levels of government, this one, housing would be a municipal issue, but healthcare wouldn't be. And so trying to sort out, yes, when you wake up in the morning, did you try the tap today? Yes. Did water come out? Yes. Your city's at work, right? The phone you left at the side of your bed charging overnight, did it charge? Yes. The electricity stayed on? Yes. Your local government was at work last night. Is the trash picked up today? All of the, and trying to just not say one's better than the other, but trying to differentiate what different levels of government do. So it's been fun.
We've already got some feedback on our question.
Look at this, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not for Tuesday, you better get online.
Yeah, or we'll switch over to Tuesdays.
No, it looks like it by what we're saying here.
Yeah. That sounds, well, that's great. Then we'll do that. We got Margaret McKnight on her daughter's computer. Hello, Margaret. And hi to Sharon and hi to Robbie.
Right.
We got Dale asking a question here. Why is the Talbot Street bus still not going all the way down Talbot? It's still using the detour route. And why are London's homeless staying at the new building? I've talked to them, and some of them are from London.
Yeah, well, some of them, their St. Thomas nameless list, by names list for homeless are all who is being issued homes at the station. So I'm not suggesting it. Maybe somebody who's here on our by names list has been here a couple of years and might have been from London at some point in his past, much like the mayor who moved here from London.
Right. Not too long ago.
No, well, 32 years. But yes, but so your answer is, we do not have an exodus of homeless from one community to another
Mhm.
without us reacting to it and removing people and sending them to their homes where they're from.
Right.
But yes, the station is filling up, and that is reducing the number of homeless on our street.
Mhm.
We're happy to have 45 more people housed in the Indwell project called the station.
Mhm.
So.
And an issue that's getting people worked up again are the roundabouts.
Oh yes, we look, we have captured roundabouts as a method of controlling traffic in St. Thomas, both from a speed reduction, certainly a safety issue, because in a roundabout, even if you were to have a crash in a roundabout, you would not be going fast enough, and you're going the same way as all the other traffic. So that's some of the safety issues. From a climate issue, if you're replacing a stop sign or a stoplight with a roundabout, it has been proven how many tons of carbon get saved because of people not stopping and starting like they have to at a stop sign or a red light, green light situation. They're not for everywhere, because there has to be a certain amount of space for a roundabout to work. Well, we're back looking at the Canes and St. Catharines corner. It's a big, wide corner that every summer we have to put traffic abatement posts up because of the speed of the traffic, because of the width. Well, our engineers are bringing forward another proposal. They've sent letters to all of the neighbors, right, to certainly get public input. Council will, of course, listen to all of this, but we think that, in my personal opinion, it's probably a good spot for a roundabout to keep traffic moving on Canes, but to do some speed reduction. It's a long run to that corner at St. Catharines to slow down traffic at that corner. Let's see what the engineering study says and see if we can do it.
Very good. Another thing you were talking about just earlier before we went live is that for the other traffic, like say you have one street that has a lot more traffic than the street that's coming across it.
Right. Many have said, well, why don't you just put a four-way stop up there? Well, then every car has to stop in the four-way. So there's a lot more stop and go and a lot more carbon emissions. That's the first thing. But there's certain rules that our traffic studies tell us as to if one road is considerably busier than the other. You say 2/3 of the traffic at an intersection are on one road and the other third is on the crossroad. Then you're far better simply having a roundabout where all can enter or all can exit, or having only the stop on the least traveled road, so that the main road can go through. But that's part of the issue we're having on the one we're talking about. Is it builds up too much speed. Now, I think you may see us move into photo radar here in St. Thomas, and that may be another spot we can. Well, we're having certain areas of town where we continue to have our police out over and over and over again to reduce speeding, and we ticket a lot of people. Like Sunset Drive is maybe the worst one, right? And we just have learned many other communities have gone back to using a camera radar system where a ticket is sent to the car owner on that, and it requires no police.
Right.
Well, we talk a lot about why do you have your police dealing with mental health, or why do you have your police dealing with cases at the hospital? Why do we have our police working on straight traffic duty when they should be out catching criminals? Well, there's another case that we can do it administratively. It's run by our engineering department. So we've got some asks in as to how to do this right. And some other communities have already done it. So before we do it, we'll talk about it a lot more here on Mayor's Update. But sure, we'd love your views on whether you think, the answer always is, if you're not a speeder, how does this hurt you, right?
Well, my question is with the radars, do you get a ticket if you're like 10 over?
I think they are settable to about the place the police would set it.
Yeah.
Look, if you're doing 10 over, the police may stop and say, slow down. So we would likely set, in those cases, a perimeter, right? Where it could, something over and you get stopped.
A lot of the people who are going like 20 over and then they only get charged for 10 are going to be pretty disappointed about this, though.
Perhaps perhaps they could go 10 over.
Yeah, maybe
Perhaps they
could
could go the speed limit and be safe in our community, and that's part of good community governance. And we'll share some more of that with you before we go there. But I want you to know we're looking at it, and we think it's a great way to transfer resources to something automated instead of a lot of police people in a cruiser. So,
and we're going to jump into the police budget because that was talked about.
Yes.
I just want to jump back to a comment that Dale was making.
Yes.
About the buses.
Yes.
Because we forgot to get into that.
I do not know why the Talbot Street bus is not going downtown. I know that today a number of the pullover and parking spot areas are still covered with bricks.
Yep.
To be done, to be laid still. And if I guess a number of we can't stop the bus in the middle of the road as a bus stop. So it could very well be we're waiting just to finish up some of the sweeping of the bricks and get the bricks out of the what we'd call the parking pullovers, right, where the bus stop would be. So I will check tonight, but it's my understanding that this week Talbot bus would be back on Talbot Street completely. And if it's still detouring, maybe it's just detouring a small amount around a section where a bus stop can't be right now. That'd be my guess.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Another question from Sharon. Will Elgin and Center Street remain four-way stops, and is John Street back to a one-way street?
No, both will stay what they've done during the construction, at least for the foreseeable future. Both of those changes were done at council and will have to come back to council. And what council has asked our engineering department to look at is, now that the demand is down on Center Street and maybe what we just talked about, Center Street is the busier of the two than Princess or Elgin, or Elgin is busier than the Center Street. Don't know which.
Right.
Those counts have to be done to decide whether it should go back to a 2 or leave it at 4. So, and John Street, I didn't see too much difficulty with John Street being two ways. It's not a wide street, but it's not. Let's just see as we try to make that decision, we'll talk to the people on John Street.
Very good. And Margaret McKnight is saying she saw a bus go into Parkside. It's still dirt, but yay. She's very excited. She's a driver, and she's happy to see that congestion get eased up a little bit.
Looked like when I drove by Parkside day before yesterday, boy, it looked like it's about to be paved. I mean, the curbs are so I think we're getting close on the finish of the Parkside Street construction. Yes.
And let's jump over to the budget discussion with the police, because we're doing something different in our community this year.
Yes, we're doing a lot of things different in our community. We are adding more to the community policing downtown, which would affect the budget. We're adding more as St. Thomas grows. We're trying to grow what the base of our police force does look like. We've just finished the negotiations with our great police officers and their association, and a 5-year contract was returned, which is a pretty good contract both ways, to the city and to the police. But we're also asking for a number of other grants across the board from the Solicitor General. He asked us for information. We met with him at AMO. We've done some other stuff. Some of those grants have already been approved, which are really helping us lower what would be additional costs to our police force for additional staff. And there's 2 or 3 more out there, and we're still nudging the Solicitor General through both the police services and through our member of provincial parliament and the mayor. So I like the way the police budget has turned out. I'm on the police service board, so I voted yes for it. I like what it's doing, and I think if we can get a city budget that kind of matches about that growth as our community grows, our St. Thomas budget will be in pretty good shape.
Fantastic. And can you share anything else about the budget for the city yet?
Yes, we'll start. We're into the process now where each of the departments have submitted their first what we'd call draft, and really kind of wide open kind of budget, kind of with a wish list in it too.
Yeah.
And that's how we also get our capital costs, the new big projects that have to happen in 2024. So they've all been accumulated. That will roll up. And I think by end of November, we'll see first draft budget to council for discussion purposes, at least on the capital budget. We've been very lucky in the last 5 years of my time as mayor to really get our budgets done early. And it's really saved us some money on going out to budget on big projects like the Talbot Street project. So the quicker we can make a decision on our budget this year, and look, one of the the mainstay thoughts that those in council that have had discussions with each other, is we have to keep our tax increase in St. Thomas under inflation. And we have each of the last 5 years, it's been 2%, 2.2%, 2.3%, that type of thing. It's been a little higher inflation this year. So let's see what it comes in at. But we've got a number of, we can't add to the housing crisis by increasing taxes more than is affordable by people who are living in their homes. We don't want that to be an issue. So we'll be thinking of all things in that manner.
Very good. We've got a question about the road on Sunset. It's from John Beecroft. He's saying, just wondering when Sunset Drive is going to be paved properly. It is as if it was hand raked. Certainly not acceptable.
Okay. We've been driving on it for 3 or 4 months. I've had 2 or 3 people say this. I'll ask the engineering department about it. My understanding is that part was a finished level of pavement, while we're still putting the rest of the water and sewer lines down one side of it to go to the north west area. And I'm guessing that if you're finding it that way, there must be spots that still need to be finished.
Right. And I think like some companies, they'll put in the water and stuff. They'll put like
we got to get it back open.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Sunset. There's no real easy detour around Sunset.
Yeah.
So
I remember.
When it was closed. So I'll check, John, to make sure that isn't final. And in my thought, it is not. There's still much work going on up the Sunset Hill.
Well, there's big pipes beside it too,
still
that I've
sitting
seen as I'm driving.
Right. So I'm guessing even if they were to be done off the side of the road, it could have just been yet a non-finished pavement job so that we could be open, and maybe even leave it for the winter. We could be open still, right? Yeah.
Very good. And so we're also talking before the show about the Beehive and the latest one.
What a great Beehive this week. If you haven't watched it, don't leave Mayor's Update. After Mayor's Update, go watch the Beehive. It's Mike with a little news about the mega project and talking about big equipment. And I'll leave it at that because it's good. You've got to watch Mike and the Beehive this week.
And you're serving some beans.
Tomorrow is the Bean Blast at St. Anne's. Starts at about 11:30, I think, goes to 1 o'clock. It's a fundraiser for the Food Network. And so it's $10 for wieners and beans. And it's a great fundraiser to help.
And this isn't like the television Food Network.
No.
This is the local Food Network.
This is the Food Security Network.
People.
Yes. This is not the Food Network.
We're not doing a show out there.
You're right. I went quick. And there's a couple of people serving, but I always get to serve wieners and beans tomorrow. If you come to Joe's table, he'll sort out some extra wieners. Okay,
which is always the primo. Like as a kid, when you had those events at school, the
beans hold the wieners together. I want more wieners than I want beans. So, well, please come help out. It's a great way to help your community tomorrow. Speaking of helping out your community, Oktoberfest on Saturday.
What an incredible event!
You and I met there very early Saturday morning and did.
I was sore like 2 days after that lugging fences.
I think I'm still sore, but I'm really old, not you. Right?
I'm young. No.
But it really was the whole day, even though it was a bit rainy. We tapped a keg.
There was dancing.
Papa dancing.
The whole
the
band.
Swing Masters seemed like they stayed all day. They were incredible.
They stayed all day. They stayed all night. Yeah. They closed it down.
And train rides for all the kids. 6 different train rides. Yeah, it was. And the downtown pumpkin painting and other things that were going on. If you didn't come down for Oktoberfest, we're going to give you another chance next year. I think this will become an annual event. We'd like to move it a week earlier in October. We had to be on this weekend because we had to get downtown open.
And have a road we could go on.
Right.
Yeah.
And so next year we can play. Not next week. I'm not doing that fancy.
Give us a year. Give us a year.
And we're going to recruit a good dozen or 2 volunteers to help us with the fence and the tables and stuff next year. We learned our lesson that this wasn't as easy as we thought it was from a volunteer point of view.
And shout out to Tina Swainpool for organizing the pumpkins and the painting. You mentioned it, but Tina did an incredible job in terms of getting volunteers and
when over 200 pumpkins went out. I mean,
gone.
It was getting late in the day, and somebody said, "Here, Mayor, take this pumpkin." And I went, well, "Okay, I'm not all that hungry, but I'll take it." No, it was one of the last ones of the 200. It was a beautiful pumpkin too.
Gorgeous pumpkin.
Right?
And you took it right over to Caps Off
Like,
Brewing.
I took it to Caps Off because they needed to be more festive. They were
Mm.
having a great Oktoberfest, but then pumpkin helped them. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, just and then we closed it down. We packed all the fences away, and
I was gone by that point, and I felt bad being at home, aching from putting the fences up and moving the tables in the morning. But I said,
well, it was really
all my
interesting.
friends are out there in the cold putting the fences away.
Not all
I
of them
should
were
go
there.
back.
Not
Oh,
all of them.
no?
No, it was a very reduced crowd of volunteers.
Well, this is where we have to. Okay, we're going to call last call in an hour. The rest of you help us with fences.
Yeah, well, you know what? Shout out to Harrison Cole and Andrew Cole because they stayed with their friends.
Yes,
and helped us move those.
Sandra
fences
did tell me that they came and helped a lot.
And speaking of Sandra, our city manager, she was there early in the morning. She was there
late
at night,
in the pouring rain, and I know how cold it was when you weren't doing anything on Saturday. In between things, before that sun came out late in the afternoon, you just started to feel it all the way through you, right? It was a beautiful event. Let's do it. Pumpkin Prowls next.
Yeah, 77 businesses are all participating. If you're going up and down Talbot and you see a big paper pumpkin in the window, that is a business that's participating in the Pumpkin Prowl, and you're getting free candy when you come out with your kids.
Bring your kids with their costumes and something to carry a lot of candy.
So much.
Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Including City Hall is a stop on the Pumpkin Prowl. The mayor is putting together a rather unique pumpkin.
Very excited to see this. I've heard some stories. I've heard some tales.
Right.
I want to see.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
Be able to shift out the fact from the fiction.
Yes,
when I get there. It's one of these events you don't want to miss, especially if you have a family. I'm going out with Jess and Lily and nieces and nephews, so it's going to be
I got to see Lily at the Lily and Jess at the event on Saturday, and Lily had face paint on. She'd been at the
Home Hardware.
Gearlix,
the fundraiser for the pooches.
Right.
So that was just fantastic. Pause.
Yeah, I didn't stop, but no, it was pause for something. No.
Yeah, and they did
I was
the pink
dad
pumpkins
jokes all day.
Yeah. They had the pink pumpkins out there, which is another fundraiser.
Perfect.
So shout out to Home Hardware for all they do for our community.
In our community, and we don't talk about them enough.
No,
right?
we don't.
Right. So good on them. And fantastic.
Lily was dancing up a storm to the Oopump.
Oh yeah.
Loves
she got
music
into
now.
music. Oh yeah.
And she's kicking her legs around and dancing with the other kids.
Yeah, perfect.
So Reggie was there, one of her friends, and so they were dancing.
Great.
It was incredible. Loved it.
We have any other questions? Let's see if Tuesday won.
Lots of pumpkin pies. Yeah, I'm sure there will be a lot.
Oh no, I love pumpkin pie. There's a little bit of work between a pumpkin and a pumpkin pie.
Yep. And so,
but boy, is the end result ever good. Right?
We've got a bunch of viewers on right now between YouTube and Facebook. So if you're watching, we're going to shift over to Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays, just because we're getting too many conflicts.
Some comments. Right.
Yep. So let us know if you don't like Tuesday, because right now everyone loves Tuesday so far that's commented.
It's universal. YouTube, it looks like Tuesday would be okay.
Tuesday's better
at 6:30.
Yeah.
Which lets Grayden and I both have very busy Wednesdays.
For some reason, Wednesdays have become very busy after the pandemic ended. It's just like busy. Before that, it was perfect. Yeah, because we weren't doing anything.
Right.
Just like
any night works fine. Right? Well, we're free.
Yeah, we can move things around.
We can do it from home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What else is going on at council these days?
We had a pretty good council meeting on Monday night. We did an open meeting on the sewer and water rates and some very minor increases across sewer and water rates for St. Thomas, meeting that same goal as we talked about. And there really wasn't too much more on City Council to talk about on Monday. So I think I'll just stay with that. We kept our sewer water rates in a reasonable increase for this year. Lots of costs coming up because we have to build a new wastewater plant eventually. We have a lot more water we're buying from the local system. And as St. Thomas grows, we have to be able to buy your bills, pay the new bills on new piping and new water treatment plants and new wastewater treatment plants.
Yeah, you got to keep everything flowing.
Yes. As we shared with a very good job, though. That was a dad joke.
I'm working on it.
And you're getting better.
Slowly.
Yeah.
I've got a good instructor here on the dad jokes. Margaret McKnight is saying, what was said about Highbury?
Well, we accepted the engineer's report to finish the study. That study has a roundabout at Ron McNeil and taking up a little bit of property on two of the corners to make that roundabout a roundabout that matches like the Sunset and Wellington one. Big two-lane roundabout. Come down Highbury, 4 lanes wide with a center turning lane, so 5 lanes all the way down Highbury till you reach South Edgeware, where there would be another roundabout, and then proceed south of South Edgeware to go hit up with the new Highway 3.
Right.
So Highbury will become a great exit from Highway 3 to go north. But that's all of Highbury inside the St. Thomas city limits. So we've scheduled what we need to do. We'll certainly continue to talk with the MTO and the City of London, of course, because they have the rest of Highbury all the way to London. So as to what they will do based on where we are.
Which is exciting. I'm going to pull up. I've got a Beehive episode.
Excellent.
That actually talks all about that.
Yes.
So I'm going to search that and find that. And like you were saying, the biggest question is whether or not London's going to bring theirs
it's
down.
further on. And look, there's lots of conversation with the MTO that the new Highway 3 bypass that goes over to meet Highway 4 will take a lion's share of the St. Thomas to the 401 traffic.
Yeah.
And it likely will. It's the shortest distance to the 401, unless you're going to East London, then you would still use Highbury, much like we do now. Remembering we've had industries in St. Thomas that are no longer here, that added to traffic and have taken away from traffic on the Highbury side. But we have Highbury, Wellington, Wonderland, and now the Highway 3 bypass will connect. So we've got other ways to get to London in safe ways. I find Highbury, if we just had people driving the speed limit, not trying to pass on double
try
lines.
And pass like crazy. I'm shocked.
It's a dangerous road, Joe. Yeah, it is when there's an idiot on there. I mean, I'll give you that there's an idiot when somebody's trying to pass on a double line, right? So that study will carry on with Highbury, but we've pretty much accepted that will be one of the major construction projects of next year for the city of St. Thomas is the Highbury through South Edgeware stretch. And likely, if we get our way, some good work along South Edgeware too, at least within the next 2 years, because it really needs to be done too.
And there's a water main that's getting put in this year as well.
Well, there's a lot of things under that road that we might as well do while we're doing it. The other thing that was on the council topic was the hospice. Came and made a presentation also. Yes.
Amazing.
Right? So they came and told us where they are.
Yep.
They've made another financial ask of the city, and we said,
well,
plus, it's a little more than that. Plus, we've already given the land for the hospice. Yep. So we'll have that conversation during budget time as to what we can afford or how many years we might have to put it over.
Because what's a point of your budget? Like 1% of your budget is how much for the city of St. Thomas?
About 500,000.
500,000 would be 1% of the budget.
Yeah. So
that's a pretty big
one thing, right? If we're trying to hold a 2.5-3% increase,
right?
Not possible if one item is 1%.
Right.
Really hard for us to do.
Police, fire, roads, water,
everything.
Parks, council, like all the other. Yeah.
So we look. We love the hospice. We love the idea. We love it so much. We gave the most fantastic piece of property available in St. Thomas. So now let's talk about how else we can help them do it. We're also listening to hear what other municipalities in Elgin are doing to help the hospice do. It is Elgin County. So
absolutely. Well, it looks like we've burned through our time here.
And we talked fast today. It feels like I've been talking really, really fast.
We covered a lot of things. Yeah. Woo. And that link is in there for Highbury. So if you have any interest in finding out what's happening with Highbury, click that link. There's
That's
pictures,
what it's going to look
video,
like, and how the cross section of the road looks.
You've got Mike's narration, which is second to none.
Yes.
Second to none.
Oh no, and fun. We love having Mike do the Beehive updates.
He's just incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody,
we miss you already.
Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to our viewers. Thanks to Mayor Joe for joining us.
I don't know if we'll see you next Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll now play that by ear.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know the day before when we're doing.
Yeah. Look for it on Monday.
All right.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.